I'm like, just look on this. They make it pretty easy.
Good evening. Welcome to the Revere School Committee meeting of March 17, 2026, St. Patrick's Day. Will everyone rise and salute the flag?
Mrs. Biasella. Mrs. Bronston Rizzo.
Here.
Mr. Caggiano.
Present.
Mr. Damiano.
Here.
Mr. Kingston.
Present.
Ms. Milbury Ellis.
Present.
Ms. Monterosso.
Present.
Mr. Rellini.
Present.
Mayor Keefe.
Here. Okay. First order of business, we have recognition. No recognition tonight, right? Well, if we could take, did you have something, Mr. Kingston?
I thought you did, Mr. Mayor.
I do. Well, I think from all of us, and if it,
Well, that's why I thought you should do it.
sure. So if I can
apologize.
take a point of personal privilege, I did want to recognize the Revere, the joint efforts of the PTO this last week and over the last few months. There was a wonderful dodgeball tournament that all of the schools and a lot of the staff participated in. There was a big fundraising effort, joint effort, but it was really led by Jen Semino, a parent, but also someone who contracts with the city as well. She's a wonderful photographer. Her husband actually works for the Revere DPW, and he's a wonderful employee as well. But just overall, super job. And I just wanted to I think the whole committee wants to thank Ms. Semino and her team for putting together such a wonderful event. And I do want to compliment the amount of engagement that we saw from staff, faculty, principals, and of course the parents that were involved. There was not a parking spot to be found in the entire school parking lot at the high school, which means that there was thousands of people in attendance. So wonderful job. Thank you, Jen, for leading that. Appreciate it on behalf of the school committee. Good enough, John? Yes, sir. Thank you, John. And John reminded me to do this, so thank you, John. Okay. Motion for the consent calendar. Do we have a motion?
Motion to accept the consent calendar?
Second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Biasella.
Yes.
Bronston Rizzo.
Yes.
Mr. Caggiano.
Yes.
Mr. Damiano.
Yes.
Mr. Kingston.
Yes.
Ms. Milbury Ellis. Ms. Monterosso.
Yes.
Mr. Rellini.
Yes.
Mayor Keefe.
Yes. Okay. Student representative report. Rizzoa?
Good evening, all. I'll be delivering the student rep report. As always, we're in accordance with Massachusetts general law. Bunker Hill Community College partnered with the RHS to host an on-the-spot admission event. Last week, BHCC admissions representatives met with students in the LC to assist with completing applications and to share information about enrollment in selected programs. Nearly 55 students received on-the-spot admissions. Last week, representatives from local organizations, trade unions, employers, and post-secondary education and training programs visited RHS to help students learn more about different pathways after high school. The Student Senate Opportunity and Inclusion Committee partnered with the NAN project to host an open community discussion about mental health. Peer mentors shared their personal experiences with mental health struggles and earned an open dialogue with students. This discussion focused on mental health and its impact on the Revere community. Resources such as the Mental Health First Aid and the NAM project were shared during the workshop. Sports Roundup. The RHS cheerleaders finished second in the Massachusetts State Lodge Co-ed division, a goal they've been dreaming about all season. Next stop, national stage in Orlando, Florida this March. The RHS girls track finished the GBL season with 4 champs in the 800 and 600. RHS boys tracks are prepared to head to nationals in New York City. RHS Club Report. Molly-Wen students are prepared for an exciting upcoming conference at Northeastern University, another opportunity for students to showcase their public speaking skills. Congratulations to our freshman novice, Alpha Maya, who will be representing Boston in the Grand National Tournament in D.C. for speech and debate. The Mock Child team made RHS history, being the first to win in their district and moving on to the state semifinals. Thank you. That's all.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is the position where we have public speak. Does anyone in the audience wish to speak or has signed up, and or anyone on remote attendance?
No one in person.
No one in person, public speak?
No one online either.
No one online? Okay.
Motion to close public speak?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So ordered. All right, superintendent's report, Dr. Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have several reports to bring to you tonight. A couple of them are from schools. The Paul Revere School is going to give a presentation, as is Revere High School. After that, we're going to have an update from the Fine Arts Department. And I had intended to talk just briefly to the committee about an update to the state graduation requirements, so I'll get to that in just a few minutes. But without further ado, I will invite Principal Coyle and his team up to talk to us about student-led conferences, developing agency and empowerment. And I know that he's got a parent and some students, and they're going to talk to us about what the experience has felt like for them to be engaged in student-led conferences. And Mr. Coyle, I know you'll give us an introduction of what that means, right, to begin?
That is correct, yes. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mo Coyle, principal of the Paul Revere School. We'll get started as soon as the slides pop up, but we're excited to share a couple of our students with you today, but then additionally, some of the work that's part of our innovation plan. You'll recall just back in June, or it might even have been May, that we were here presenting to you our new 5-year plan. The center focus of that 5-year plan is around building student capacity with autonomy and intrinsic motivation for learning, navigating productive struggle, and self-monitoring skills. So really the theme of all of that is around ownership and taking ownership of your learning. So student-led conferences, as you'll see, and as my colleagues over here are going to be able to share with you, talks a lot about building ownership for students. So we are here tonight with Grace Aborn, who is a grade 5 student, and Demetrio Mumbaya, who is another grade 5 student. They're actually going to go through the presentation that they gave to their parents when we had the conferences. We also have Owen Martell here, who is a grade 5 teacher, and we are joined by Katie Aborn, who is a parent, and Anna Maria Rincon, who is also a parent. They're going to be welcomed, we'll welcome them up if you have any questions for them about this process and how it went for them at the end of the presentation as well. As I already started mentioning, this is part of our innovation plan. Our innovation plan has many different initiatives that are part of it. This is the 4th initiative when you go through the plan. The goal is that over the course of 5 years, that every grade level will start to initiate or integrate some form of student-led conferences. That's going to look different by grade level. This year we started with just grade 5. Next year we're going to be integrating grade 4, and we're going to continue each year to add additional grade levels. Developmentally, the kindergarten conference is going to look different than a 5th grade conference, so we're going to use the learning from each year to kind of build that down to be able to try to build student capacity and teacher capacity around being able to lead the most effective conference that gives parents the information they need but still gives students the ownership we want them to have. We're doing this, actually the leadership for this has been under the oversight of Mr. Owen Martell. He's a 5th grade science teacher for our school. He also has made this one of his professional practice goals for part of the Ed Growth System. So he has taken this on and been working hand in hand with the Family Engagement and Support Committee at our school to be able to get this up and running, and he's done a really great job with it. And the last part is the intended outcome, again, is around student ownership, and then also for teachers and caregivers to better be positioned to see what our students feel like they're bringing to the table and what they want to set for themselves for goals and what they think their trajectory should look like. So at this time, I'd like to introduce you to Owen Martell, 5th grade teacher.
Thank you, Mr. Coyle. So as he said, I'm Owen Martell. I'm a 5th grade social studies and science teacher at Paul Revere. We have been implementing the student-led conferences, and they've been going really well. The main focus of those have been the ownership of learning. So giving students the accountability of showing their learning to their parents and not just having the teachers speak to what the students have been doing in the classroom. And then another focus of that has been the learning pit, which is something we've been talking about at Paul Revere for 2 years now. It's essentially just a visual representation of productive struggle in the classroom. So it gives the students something to reference when they're struggling in the classroom. or not getting the answer right away. Essentially, you'll see a picture later and the students will be explaining what it is, but it shows somebody in a pit and using tools trying to get out of that pit in order to find their own way through a problem. And then finally, goal setting, which again is just more reflection for them. And they're able to work through some weak points they may have in the classroom and ultimately try to improve those throughout the year. As I said, the conferences have been going really well. Overall, the feedback we got from the parents has been incredible. 30 out of the 53 conferences that we had were student-led, and the feedback was unanimously positive. Up there are some quotes that we're able to get from a Google Form reflection, and then something that we do want to work on that I'll get into when we talk about the next steps is just having more parents respond to that feedback survey, because that was something we didn't really promote as much as we could have during the conferences. If you could just continue to the next slide, please. Thank you. And now we have Grace Aborn to talk about her presentation.
I'm Grace Aborn, and this is my 5th grade self-reflection conference. The learning pit is where we think about like the problem, and then we like think that, oh, this is harder than I thought, and then we are kind of confused, and then we use like tools to help us get out of the learning pit and succeed. My work habits are: I observe class and school rules always. I am prepared for class with all materials always. I am prepared for class with, I demonstrate consistent effort always. I take responsibility for choices and actions always. I demonstrate self-control always. I treat teachers and adults respectfully always. I interact cooperatively with others, which is kind of closer to most of the time, and I demonstrate problem-solving skills always. Think about your school year. What is one moment that made you feel really proud of yourself? One thing that made me very proud this year was when I got 100 on my math test. This made me very proud of myself because it was a very important test, and I am glad that I did very well on my test. My teacher was also very proud of me, which made me feel proud. Everyone gets stuck in the learning pit sometimes when learning something new. One time I got stuck and or frustrated was when I had MCAS. This made me frustrated because I was scared I would get a bad grade. I figured out a way to get out of the pit. I got out by calming down and using all the knowledge I know and all the resources. This made me realize as I try my best, I know I will be successful.
What's one goal you have for yourself?
One goal I have for myself is to read at least 25 books in this school year or more. One thing I want to get better at in school is social studies. More specifically is my continence. I am good, but not the best.
How many books have you read so far?
I think like 15.
15 is a lot of books. That's amazing. Great job. All right. Nice job, Grace. Demetrio is up. Come on over, Demetrio.
Hi, my name is Demetrio Ambuya.
You're like 10 feet tall, dude.
Hi, my name is Demetrio Ambuya. The learning pit is like a place where you get stuck on something and you basically just like do good on it and get out of it. I always,
So I have a hard time reading from far away, so bear with me. I observe class and school rules.
always, I begin and finish my work in groups or by myself most of the time. I am prepared for class with all materials most of the time. I demonstrate constant effort most of the time. I take responsibility for choices and actions most of the time. I demonstrate self-control always. I treat teachers and other adults respectfully always. I interact with cooperatively with others always. I demonstrate problem-solving skills most of the time.
So what's a moment this year you felt really proud of yourself?
When I beat the fractions level on SC Math because I was stuck on that level for like 3 weeks. And I was proud because it was one of the hardest levels I've worked on in ST Math.
Great. And everyone gets stuck in the learning pit sometime. Describe a time that you were stuck and what did you do to keep going or figure it out?
A time when I got stuck in the learning pit is when we were writing an essay and I didn't know what to write. And I read a friend's essay because we were sharing it, and it gave me an idea to use it and get me out of the learning pit.
So you worked with someone else to figure it out, right? Mm-hmm. So set a goal for yourself. What's your goal? It's right there.
Gym and science because I really like doing sports, and I also want to learn more about science because I'm really interested in space and astronomy.
So some next steps we hit on a little bit earlier, but we mainly want to up that feedback survey so that we can get more feedback from the parents. Like I said, it was positive, but I think there's always room for improvement, especially as we're working it down towards the other grades. Going into that last bullet there, we are going to be training the grade 4 teachers to implement the student-led conferences next year. As we mentioned, it is going to trickle down. It's not going to look exactly the same as it did in 5th grade. And then finally modifying that template to ensure accessibility for younger grades and maximize conference impact under time constraints. We've done that a little bit, and we're going to be trying that in the spring with a paper copy. Very similar. They're going to be setting goals, reflecting on the work that they've done, and we're going to see how that goes, because it'll also be interesting to have parents see their handwriting and their writing ability, not necessarily using a computer.
So that does conclude our presentation, but like I said, we do have, we're all welcome to questions. If you have questions for the students, for the parents, for ourselves, we welcome them.
Sure, 2 quick things. First, great job, kids. You guys did amazing. It's not easy to get up and speak in front of people, is it? But you guys did it. So however you come up with the tools to do it, it's wonderful. So kudos to you. The other thing I was just going to say is that this is wonderful for the students and for the parents, but it also provides parents with, you know, the tools to generate these conversations as well at home. So, you know, anytime that you can extend the school atmosphere at home is always a wonderful thing. So thank you. This is good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. One of the things that we didn't mention is that the way the conferences were set up, there was still a few minutes at the very end for the parent and the teacher to directly connect as well. So, you know, we didn't completely eliminate the traditional model in that sense, but it was student-led, and there was still that opportunity so that they could have that direct connection with the adult to adult as needed.
Thank you. I'll echo my colleague's sentiments, and I just wanted to ask 2 questions. One, what was the response rate roughly for the survey?
So I think we had, I said 30 conferences, we probably had about 10 responses.
Okay.
So like I said, it was super low, but we didn't give the feedback form right away. I think if we had either like a paper for them to fill out or like a QR code for them to scan,
Yeah.
or even a Chromebook just with the form right there would be much better.
I think all three of those would work for me. And so I wanted to ask, so you're saying students fill this out on the computer and then show it to the parents?
Yes, so we present it just how it was here,
Okay.
and they stand up and present it to their parents on the smart board.
I see, okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Crowe. That was my question. I was wondering if there was a time when the teacher could talk to the parent, because there might be a tough conversation that you can't really have in front of the student. But
Exactly,
I
yep.
appreciate the effort, and I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Yep. And one of the things that, this was not my idea, this was the team's idea and the committee's idea, was that parents should have to opt into it, at least as we're starting out right now. So we did give the choice, and that's why 30 out of the 50 conferences that were held were done in this format, because those parents had opted in for it, but then the other ones wanted a traditional conference that was not student-led. So we gave that grace and we gave that respect, and were able to accommodate both needs.
Thank you. Ms. Biasello?
Hi, so good job, kids. I'm really proud of you both. I mean, it was amazing, just like everyone said already. But kudos to you guys, because I have to tell you, I was at a PD today on special education, and basically the takeaway is they want students to start leading their own IEP meetings, because it's all about speaking for themselves, right? So it empowers the student, and it brings in ownership, accountability, responsibility, self-advocacy skills, and resilience. And these are so important. These skills are so important, and we kind of come away from them when we're you know, in technology all the time. So this is awesome, and kudos to the parents being involved in pushing this. You guys are fantastic. This is great. Thank you.
No, I'm just gonna say, last night I was trying to do something at home. My husband came in and I was getting really frustrated. He goes, "What are you, in the learning pit?" And it was like, I think I heard those words before, so I'm gonna take some of your knowledge and bring it back home and finish my project. So thank you very much.
Build that resilience.
Build that resilience.
Mr. Caggiano?
Thank you for that presentation. Just want to ask the students, each one of us, what is the one thing you took out of this conference that stands out? That it's just like, you know, I know your 100 stands out, but is there anything else you felt that you really took away from these conferences?
I think what I was proud of, and maybe the learning pit, I think, because that's like really important to me, because it really helps me when I'm stuck in something.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So when you think through this whole process and doing a conference and having to present to your mom, what's...
Like, does it motivate you to want to go to school more? Do you feel that with interactions with your students was, you know, a lot better now, or increased?
Yeah, I think it's more better.
What's more better? Let me ask you this. What did it feel like to have to do goal setting? At the end, you made a goal for yourself. I know part of it was about gym, not a bad idea, right? But then the other part was science, if I'm right. What did it feel like to think about goal setting? Was it exciting to think that of coming up with something for yourself?
Yeah.
That concludes our presentation. Anybody else? Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nice job, kids. I actually have a question for both of you. What is your best advice for your fellow students at the Paul Revere or any of our schools when maybe they don't even know that they're in the learning pit, how to climb out of it?
That's a good one.
Probably to think about their resources and what the question is asking, because sometimes one time I wrote a whole essay about a question and then I didn't read the whole thing, which was about the feelings about their futures, and I just wrote about their feelings, so then I had to redo the whole essay because I didn't read the whole part. So they should probably read and make sure they like scan more than once.
When you think about resources,
Great
what are
advice.
some examples of resources? Make Miss Martins proud.
I usually think about races for essays because that is really like I keep like a thing in my folder of star and races, and I also like to have like different resources about like writing. Like I have a paper of like all the like correct ways to remember like something that may be kind of easy to forget. One thing for me is like putting the commas in front of when you start a quote, because that I always forget that.
Yeah, great job. Thank you. I know, honestly, literally, right? Yep. Dimitri?
Probably restating the question.
That's a good one, yep. Yep, to be able to get into the answer. That's good. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I was hoping to see the parents up here. I think that their support of their children was probably really helpful, but the confidence that you instill, you can be a Zoha in a few years up here with confidence to speak in front of large groups. It just keeps building, so good job at 5th grade. It's very impressive. Good work. Okay, thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
The next item on the superintendent's report, Mr. Mayor, is an update from Revere High School, and we have Principal Bowen and Deputy Principal St. Laurent here to present. Anybody, just the two of you, yeah? Okay.
Hi there. Thank you for having us. I'm excited to come tonight with Shay to present out on a few different items that we spoke about actually earlier this summer when we were here. We've been trying to give these updates sort of every 6 months. When we were here this summer, we shared a little bit about the work we're doing this year for career concentrations. Going to have an update on that, but I think more excitedly, some very interesting, exciting work we've been doing this year to prep for next year. The next phase of these career concentrations. So we're going to dig into that a little bit. We also have some information for you about our work in our standards-based grading world and the way that that work syncs with some of this career concentrations in program of studies development. And we're going to close out with some information about a structure we have we want to propose to you next year for sort of a teacher leadership structure that we want to bring to you for consideration. So those are the three things, but we thought it would be great for some of the new committee members to hear a little bit of the work we've been doing, and I think more interestingly, where we're going next year to see where we've been. Okay?
Hello, everybody. I'm Shay St. Laurent. Nice to see you all, and nice to meet those of you who I didn't get to meet earlier this year. I'm going to start by talking a little bit about our career concentrations at RHS. Chris presented earlier this summer, and so just to recap what a career concentration is essentially a major or pathway that we like to offer to our students in an elective set of learning experiences. And so up on the screen you can see we've built a formula for what we think that can look like. And so what that looks like is students choosing to opt into 4 course choices in their concentration area of an elective, and I'll map out what those are in just a minute. Capping those 4 courses off with a senior capstone experience, which I'll walk you through in a few minutes. Adding in an internship, service experience, work study experience, something that extends them beyond the classroom into our community. Thinking about connecting it to clubs and extracurricular activities such as DECA, Model UN, Robotics Club. There's many, many more we could list. Building a competency-aligned portfolio to demonstrate their learning experiences along the way and show evidence of the work that they're putting in. Capping off with a final presentation their senior year in a senior showcase, and then receiving an RHS certificate of completion on their transcript to show all of the work and recognition that they deserve. So some of the concentrations that we offer this year, we started off by launching our robotics and engineering career concentration. And as you can see from the photos, it's going extremely well. We have about 30 students in that cohort. We have a team of dynamic collaborative teachers that are working together to really give an authentic experience to those students in that space. So we're really excited to continue with that. Next year, we're going to be starting and kicking off our hospitality, business, and entrepreneurship career concentration. We're really excited about that. We'll also be launching an AP business course, which is new to our program of studies this year. And we're going to be offering an RHS DECA chapter, which is also new to our high school. So for those of you who aren't familiar with DECA, DECA is an international business and marketing club that offers regional, state, and national conferences to students through business competition and real-world experiences. So we're really excited to bring that next year. In the 28-29 school year, we'll be bringing in our marine science and environmental sustainability career concentration, education and human services, and biomedical and health sciences. So we're doing the work behind the scenes to start to get those courses in our program of studies and expand upon them as well.
Shay, can I jump in for just a second?
Please do.
So I just want to, for the new committee members, developing these career concentrations was part of our design for the new high school. And so the high school team has been working on, as Shay just described, mapping out what exactly is a pathway, what does it include? And then the subjects of the pathways are based on the work that we did with the Metro Boston, I'm going to forget the exact name of them, do you remember? MAPC, yeah, which identified what the big fields of work are going to be in the future in this area. That's how we decided what the career concentrations would be. So all of that work from when we started the design of the new high school back in 2016 and submitted our first application to MSBA, we've been refining and developing these ideas since then. So
we're really excited. Thank you for that. So the next thing I'm going to talk a little bit about is our capstone program, RHS Capstone, and we'll be implementing this next year, in our upcoming school year. We're really excited about it. If you've ever heard of capstone, some people refer to a capstone as a project. We at RHS are referring to it as a year-long interdisciplinary performance-based learning experience for 12th grade students. We're going to be using an instructional model that we refer to as Discover, Design, and Deliver. And so students basically choose a topic of passion or interest, and they go through the discovery phase of really understanding primary and secondary research in connection to an essential question that they identify. And they go through that discovery process of learning as much as they can about that topic. They go into design mode when they take all of that information and they do something with it. They design a solution. It's a hands-on approach to learning. And then they go into delivery mode when they present their narrative and their findings to a community audience. And that's through a TED Talk style presentation and community poster session. It's really a vehicle to connect all of the wonderful things that they've been learning in grades K to 12 and find a way to identify that topic that they really care about and connect it to the standings and learning targets that they need to graduate and have some real world transferable skills. And some of the skills that we'll be targeting in this program are critical thinking and problem solving, inquiry and research, collaboration and project management, self-direction and ownership. And we're really, really excited to be working with a team of educators to start to develop this. Just a couple of months ago, Dr. Kelly invited a small team of us to visit Maynard High School, and we got to experience their capstone program, and we all left feeling really inspired. So we're really excited and thankful for that opportunity. Next week, I'm bringing together about 8 faculty members to start the design work that goes into building a capstone program. And next year we'll be inviting you all to some community presentations, and we're excited to launch our first cohort in the fall. And now Chris is going to jump in with some standard-based grading updates.
Another focus for us next school year will be the launch of our standards-based grade book. That we have spent several years really refining and building for teachers, for students, for families, that sort of does 4 things that are outlined on this screen. We'll be at a place next year where we have a platform on PowerSchool where the way teachers are scoring and grading students helps them score not just points for an assignment, but rating students on the skills they've demonstrated, on the particular learning outcomes of that course. We've agreed on what those are across the entire school for core courses. That leads to the next piece where all courses of the same course or all sections of the same course will have a consistent grading expectation across the school, which means that if I'm a student taking Danielle's course and another student, a friend of mine, is taking Shay's course of the same course, the way we're graded, the standards we're working towards, the way our final grade, A+ down through F, is reported, comes from the same exact learning outcomes that the team of teachers has agreed on. And that is huge for consistency, for equity, for our ability to intervene when students are struggling and have real good, transparent, learning targets that we need to either help students advance from or perhaps support them get to. And there's consistency across all courses in this. We've got a lot of work we've been doing over the past few years. This year specifically, we've been in the test server side of PowerSchool, which helps a team of teachers, one from every core course, really play around with what this platform looks like. On the teacher input side, on the family side, on the student side, students still get the regular grade they're used to getting, like an A+, a B, a B-, whatever that is. On the kind of input side, a lot more clear data on where that A, B, C came from. Not just what assignment did I miss, but what content do I need to show you I know to up my grade in a very consistent way across the school that makes it uniform, so we're no longer having to navigate 4 teachers' grade books and understand where those grades come from. There's a consistent way that grade is calculated in a way that everyone understands, colleges, scholarship committees, families, but is a lot more clearly tied to the learning targets of that course. So we've got a whole sort of implementation plan this spring, time for faculty, time for students, and then time for caregivers to understand what that will look like for next year. That will continue into the summer and into the fall. But I think one of the things we're really excited for is we think about the kinds of learning experiences that Shay outlined in that capstone course. How we grade in a course that is so interdisciplinary, that pulls together so many kind of innovative approaches to thinking about student learning. A traditional way about thinking about about grading in a very traditional way, doesn't fit the kind of ways we want kids to experience school. And so we're really excited about the work we've been doing, and we feel like we've learned a lot over the past several years and have a platform and a process and a plan that sort of meets all of the struggles that we've had and really sort of fixes them to make standards-based rating something that is meaningful for kids, for families, for teachers. So we're very excited about that. And lastly, we are really thinking about, as we start to launch and roll out a lot of these things that we've been talking about for several years, as we talk about the new high school coming along, that's coming soon. And there's a lot of teacher leadership that we want to start creating, a lot of opportunities to create teacher leadership to help build out what these pathways, what these concentrations, what these initiatives look like. And so we've presented to Dr. Kelly, and we're sharing kind of an overview tonight, a structure that we have for departmental leadership. And so we've been rethinking a little bit about how we use our time with faculty, both in terms of our collaboration time in Monday, Tuesday mornings, to really think about how we embed departmental teacher leadership to move things forward. At a high school as large as ours, we are organized in departments. That's the kind of organizational system that we have. And we've been really thinking about how we build out these teacher leaders, who are lead teachers, we're calling them, that would receive not only just a stipend that is in our RTA contract, and we've figured it out in a way that is sort of cost neutral, knowing that the budget situation is what it is, but also builds in time to those lead teachers' day, where they teach their classes, and they're teachers just like every other teacher, but they have one period where they have departmental time that is very structured and is working with our deputy principal, with Shay, to think about the leadership moves and needs of those departments. But that builds into their day time to get that work done and collaborate with their colleagues to really support teachers and to bring teacher voice into the implementation of lots of the work that we've been talking about for several years. And now the rubber meets the road, and we are trying to position ourselves with a team of teacher leaders to really help us kind of make all of this actionable. And so we're excited about what that can do for how we move some of this work forward.
So if I can just add to this.
Please.
This piece about lead teachers is still in the design phase, and we still have work to do with the teachers union and with others to fine tune this. I know Chris is calling it cost neutral. It actually, in a way, saves us a full-time teaching position And where that comes from is currently the high school has 6 full-time, full-release coaches. One of the things that we're looking at carefully in this budget change is whether or not we can still support those coaching positions. And so one of the things that we had talked about was if not all, but some of the coaching positions go away, how do we still support the work that they've been doing working with these different departments? And so we've been kind of playing with numbers. I'm not promising anything, but just kind of generally speaking, if we were to take away 4 of those coaching positions, right now the coaches have full release, whereas the other high school teachers teach 3 periods and have a prep. So in essence, if we have 4 teachers who are not teaching 3 periods a day, that's 12 teaching blocks that we're absorbing into the other classrooms. If we were to, and I'll say that even at that, we don't have a fine arts coach. We don't have a PE or health coach. So we've got a number of disciplines that are not even covered with a teacher leader at this point. I know the model that Shay and Chris presented to me last week and that we've been talking about and trying to fine tune would have maybe 9 lead teachers. And each of them, if they had 1 department block, so they'd be teaching 2 periods that have a prep and that have a department block. That means we're only really absorbing that department block. So for 9 people, that would be 9 teaching periods instead of 12 teaching periods, which is basically the equivalent of a full-time teacher who teaches 3 periods. Do you get my math? Does that make sense? So that's kind of what we're looking at. It's not finalized. As I said, we still need to work on it. But I do think that it's very important, especially in a school that is the size of this high school, that we don't just think we can eliminate all of the teacher supports that we've had over these years. We still need to think about ways that we can have teacher leadership and build teacher supports into the school day, when everybody is working together. So I'll just add that context, but thank you for bringing that online.
Thank you. I'll take any questions anyone has.
Questions over here? On this side? No?
I feel like I have a lot now with that comment. So first to start off with the concentrations, my first question is, in what grade do students enter the concentrations?
They can start in grade 10.
Okay, and then is there a cap to how many students can participate in the pathway?
Nope.
Is there any selective criteria for students?
Not yet. No,
Okay.
we're in the very beginning phases. We want to create entry points for every student to be able to personalize their learning experience. And so right now we're in the, like I said, the design phase and trying to find a formula that works in a sustainable model.
The long-term goal is that every student will be in a pathway.
Okay, great.
Every student will pick a pathway, ultimately. But we're still figuring it all
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
And I think I just wanted to echo like my support for the standard-based grading. I think at one point or another, I've always heard an A in one class may not be the same as an A in another class, and I think something like this doesn't just have the consistency, but it ensures there's high expectations for all students across all classrooms. Just going beyond any bias that might lie within educators, if there is any. So I think that's really great. My question for that was, what is teacher buy-in looking like to change into this system?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things that we were very excited about. We pulled together this group of faculty members, one from every core course that was part of a feedback group that got to actually play around with and practice in this grade book.
How many teachers?
There were over 20, and there was one from every core course team represented, which matters a lot because it's kind of getting feedback from colleagues in their courses. And lots of the questions and things that came up were sort of technical questions that come back down to implementing in the department. What does this look like in my course, in my department, where we are in relation to the school's goals? There was not what I would call like philosophical opposition to thinking about standards-based grading. And I think in other iterations of this work, sometimes that has come up. And I think we've done a lot of work over the past several years to be grading in standards-aligned ways. That's work that different courses have all been doing. Now we're at a place where we're able to be consistent across those courses within departments. And I think that has to do with sort of the work we've done over the past several years to get ready for this.
Okay, thank you. And my other last question was, what is the polls you're getting from teachers on the possible elimination of coaches for the creation of a lead teacher role?
Yeah, see, I guess I sort of see those as two sort of parallel tracks, right? We tremendously value the work that our coaches do. We are in a spot where instructional coaching, working with teachers on their practice, on the way that they're delivering instruction, with their grouping students, sometimes that work instructionally has gotten pulled because there's support for assessment, there's support for curriculum development, there's support for some of the tasks. And what we're trying to do is sort of tease those out a little bit, saying that instructional coaching, supporting teachers on the instructional practices we want to see at our high school, is one body of work that we value and we need. And we need that support of our coaches to move the school forward. And there's other departmental leadership needs that come up, moving the departments towards these goals, that are sometimes pull coaches away from coaching because they're doing other departmental work. And so we sort of see these as two parallel routes, that we need instructional coaching, and we also need departmental leadership at the teacher leader level to help get some of that work done. And so I don't know if that answers your question.
So if the
If I can.
Please.
In an ideal world, we would have coaches and lead teachers.
Right.
That's what I was gonna say. So I've heard of the lead teacher concept. It has great success, but I've only heard of it in districts that have coaching positions, because, like you said, coaches do a lot more, right? Like I needed my coach to help me find resources sometimes, or sometimes I had a student that needed extra support, and my coach would go into the classroom, do that extra layer. So
We do still have a mentor program. And so every new teacher in their first year has a mentor who's assigned to them to do more of those kinds of pieces.
Yeah.
And the lead teacher would be a little bit of a bridge between what the handful of coaches that we have right now in those disciplines.
Yeah, and I mean, I needed it beyond my first year, even beyond being a first teacher. So I think this conversation is going to bleed into a ways and means conversation, but I just want to share that I am cautious of any conversation where I would like clear details as this continues to unfold on who takes on all the other parts that the coach does, because the coach does much more than just what's in the description of what a lead teacher could do, and we can save that, but I wanted to make that very clear.
There's nobody else.
Could you just, I think I have this, but I just want to make sure I understand.
Please.
Can you just paint the picture for me again with the input and the output?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So let's start on the output wise in terms of like what you see as a parent.
Yep.
We'll start there.
Yes.
So your daughter is taking a math class, and let's say you look into Power School and she has a B+ in that math class. That's what you see, right? She has a B+ in that math class. If the question you want to know is what does she need to do to get the A? Right now you look into Power School. It's quick lookup is what we call it on the teacher side, but you get to see the assignments and all. You see a list of points that they earned, and you need to decipher, well, how many points was this assignment, and how many points was that and what was missing, or what needs to be made up, or what needs to be revised, right? What you'll still see all of that, what the assignments were, on one screen, and then you can toggle to the other screen, and more importantly, see what content, what learning outcomes did those assignments cover, and which ones were rated a little lower that is contributing to the B+ versus the A. So it's less about, I need to make up 5 points on this one assignment I did at the end of February, and stopping kids from thinking about what do I need to make up, what do I need to do, what do I last minute need to get done, and saying, where's my grade come from? So I'm taking a math class in 9th grade year, and we cover 3 things in the fall: solving equations, writing equations, and modeling with equations. So now the kid is saying to the teacher, not what do I need to make up? I see my score for modeling is low and I have a C. I want to get at least a B. What do I need to show you about modeling? When's the next time I get to show you that? And the parent, the guardian, can look on Power School and see my kid has a B+. These are the assignments they did. This was what was not completed. This was what was missing. They did everything. And then can toggle to the side that says, okay, but what are they actually learning?
Yeah.
These are 3 or 4 learning outcomes, standards, right, learning targets that we have. Each of those contribute. So in an old system, quizzes count 30%, and tests count 50, and homework might count 10. Here what we're saying is, well, solving equations, that counts 10% of Algebra 1. The modeling piece, that counts 15% of Algebra 1. So they get the score for the content they're learning over multiple opportunities, because that same skill is assessed not just in that first unit on that one assessment,
Right.
but all through Algebra 1. I'm using that course as an example. So from the parent side, you get to see both, right? You get to see what's the traditional grade my student gets, the B+.
Right.
Your transcript is going to look exactly the same. Algebra 1, B+. On the input side, though, when you actually dig into PowerSchool to see where's this grade come from, you, the student, the teacher, have a lot more clear data on what topics contributed to that grade and where they need to focus their energy, in addition to the work that they did.
Right. So what's all the fuss? I remember hearing so much fuss about that you're doing away with the typical A, B, C, D, but this sounds like you were having everything.
Yeah,
with a deeper dive into what comprises a woman. That's the first thing I ask my kid. Well, what do you need to do better? Like get comfortable asking your teachers what it is that you need to do better. And I like the idea that I can go on and see it for myself as a parent.
Yeah.
But I guess I feel like I'm missing something because
I think one of the challenges when we were trying to roll this out, we wanted it to be a continuation of what we were doing at the elementary and then the middle school level, where you would get a standards-based report card that said, using Chris's example, like the solves linear equations exceeds expectation.
Oh, like the EC, but not
Exactly,
this model
right.
that he's presenting now.
And
I see.
there were some structural challenges around that, such as a lot of scholarship programs and other things wanted to know what's your GPA. Well, if you're getting grades that say exceeds expectation, there's no numerical GPA associated with that. So it took the learning curve of going through both to come up with a parallel system that meets the needs of both. It tells the parent and the student exactly where they need to work or exactly where they're excelling, but also tells the colleges and the universities and the scholarship people what this would look like at some other high school.
Yeah, great. This is good.
Thank you for your presentation. One thing which stood out on one of the new programs that you're introducing is DECA. Okay, so have you put it out feelers to the students yet or anything like that?
Yeah, so we have a lot of students taking our business classes. We have a great, robust series of options in our program of studies, and so we have been talking to some students. I don't think we've ever been a DECA chapter, I'm not sure, and so we reached out to the DECA Board of Massachusetts and have applied to be a chapter next year and are excited to market that to our students and onboard some staff to lead that work. So we're really excited to get started.
No, because we have it at the vocational school, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
extremely successful. And
Yeah.
they come up and give us presentations. They even got blazers with the DECA.
Oh, yeah.
around it,
Yep.
And they're all walking around with their blazers and everything. It's a great fun. The kids really enjoy it.
They do, yeah.
Right,
I've
and
worked in
hopefully we'll
schools
take
that
off.
have had it and was a DECA advisor myself, and it was really promising for students and great real world experience for them as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They enjoy going to competitions
Oh, great.
and so on. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Principal Bowen and Deputy Principal Shea, about the presentation. Can you tell us more about other districts or other schools that have been successful at this? Not in the design phase, but they're already in trenches doing it.
What specifically? Sorry.
How that successful, how this program is successful already with, I think you mentioned Maynard High School.
Oh, Capstone, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Capstone.
I have had experience leading Capstone in a couple of different schools. In one school, we did it in grades 5, 8, and 12 in the transition years for students. And in my past school, it was just grade 12. And students have the opportunity to choose a topic of interest. So right away, we have them hooked into their learning. And then they go through this deep dive of learning research skills and presentation skills and communication skills. Along the way, problem solving with peers and teachers being more like a facilitator in that space than a stand and deliver. So it's a very inquiry-based experience for students, very successful. What I've always loved about it is every single student has a different topic, so you never hear the same thing twice. So one of my favorite stories I like to tell was there was a student who wanted to restore his grandfather's 1957 Ford tractor, and he didn't love to write, but he went through that first discovery process that I explained, where he had to do a literature review and he had to dig into some secondary research, and he presented to a community panel. But then after that, he went and he restored the tractor with his grandfather, and that was his design phase. And at our showcase in the spring, he and his grandfather drove the tractor to the youth community space that he presented in, and he had this beautiful presentation and an awesome story to share that was very authentic to him and his learning experience. So I have many stories I could tell, and you'll get to hear it from our students next year. So we're really excited. Yeah.
Thank you both very much. Exciting work. The next presentation on the superintendent's report is from our Fine Arts Department. The RPS Arts update, and our Director of Fine Arts, Kelly Williams, is here to share that with you. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you. Welcome to our new members. I'm Kelly Williams, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the Director of Fine Arts. I'm just here to give you a little bit of update of what we've been doing this year. I always enjoy making this presentation, and as I start to work on it, I'm like, oh, I forgot this, I forgot that. So it's not everything we've done, but it's definitely a handful. And I wanted to start a little bit with some RHS arts data update. Specifically, this just shows over time how our arts have grown, and that higher in 2023-24 was my second year as director. So that's when we did make a lot of changes to our program of studies, and we're coming down a little bit, but in terms of the push of how many students are now enrolling in the arts at RHS, and wanted to highlight, you can see on the pie graphs, like the blue is the visual arts, the music is red, and theater is the yellow. But something that I'm really proud of, and I think that has really been wonderful and a great addition to the building, is that a lot of our 9th grade students now have access to enrolling in these electives, whereas before their schedules with the 4 block were pushed to junior and senior year, getting more time for electives, and now we've become a little bit more flexible with that, so they're enrolling in electives sooner. And this year we've increased by a lot. So we had like 957 students enrolled in the arts like pre-COVID. And then as of this year, we now have 1,236 students enrolled in the arts. And for our, 4 years ago, we didn't really have any 9th graders in the arts, but this year we have 360 9th grade students participating in the arts electives. And the second pie graph just shows how that's spread out. So we do have more visual art course offerings than we do theater and music. So if you want to go to the next slide, I just, for our new members, wanted to kind of talk a little bit about those changes that have happened over the past 4 years to our program of studies, and why we are seeing these increases as well. But so in the music department, we offer students Voice 9, so those are for 9th graders, Band 9, Music Production, Intro to Voice and Choir, Intro to Piano, Intro to Guitar, and Advanced Music. So those are our music offerings. For theater, we have Theater 9, Theater 1, Theater 2, Tech Theater, and Dance, falling under theater as a performing arts class, which students can take also as a PE credit. So if they really don't want to take gym courses, they can take dance to meet that credit. And then for our visual arts, we have Basic Start 9, Foundations of Art, AP Art and Design, Illustration, Draw, Paint, Sculpture, Photoshop, Graphic Design, Digital Photography, Intro to Fashion Design, Ceramics 1, Ceramics 2, and Unified Arts. So I just wanted to list those for our new members of what we are offering for the arts here at the high school. And on here I put some pictures from our fashion design class, which was in my second year as director. Something when we surveyed students, what they're looking for was dance was one, but also an intro to fashion design class. We did have a visitor from New Balance, a friend of mine who went to school for merchandising, that came in this year and talked with the fashion design classes about the different jobs they can have in the fashion industry, such as fashion merchandising, not just fashion designing, but designing, merchandising, buying, even, branding, photography, all those things that go into the fashion industry, especially because there's a lot of companies around here that are based in the fashion world. So we talked to them about that, which was a great highlight. I also wanted to just, while we're on this slide, highlight that we do have 3 seniors that were accepted to Mass Art, which is an increase. We don't normally see as many students choosing out of Revere High School to go to art school or even applying. So we did have, in Mass Art's a very competitive art school to get into. So we did have 3 that got into there. We have 1 student accepted to the museum school, which is affiliated with the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. And then we do have 1 student who was accepted to Salem State University for theater tech, and just over the past 2 years has decided that that's the field she wants to go into in helping with our musical. So that's exciting news. We have our RHS Art Club has really had a growth this year. The club now offers leadership positions consisting of a president, a treasurer, and 2 public relations members. In first semester, they did hosted a drawing day in Boston, some school beautification projects, and some card printmaking workshop. For this semester, they have planned a field trip to do a college tour of Mass Art, but also to visit the Museum of Fine Arts Boston. In the past, they have gone to the Peabody Essex Museum. They're also planning to do another drawing field trip. They're working on a button fundraiser and a mural project that's tiles, also working with the ceramics club. So we also have an art club and ceramics club. This is just our ensembles. So just 4 years ago, we only had the rock ensemble. We now have added a jazz ensemble, a pop ensemble, and the rock ensemble. And you can see our numbers in all of those ensembles are also growing. So we have more places for our music students to go and to express themselves and grow. We did have a wonderful group of 6 of our seniors. They reached out to myself and I put them in touch with Miss Furrier, who's our music teacher at the high school, looking for students that we thought exhibited high honors in choir and singing. So we did represent really well when we went. A lot of it was a small group, and a lot of them were from Revere High School, and they spent the whole day at Salem State, where they got to take classes in voice. They got to work with the faculty there, and then the entire day, and then that evening had a concert that Miss Furrier and myself also got to attend, and it was really, really wonderful. Enemy of the People was our first play back at RHS. I don't know when the last one was. I know it wasn't 30 years plus like the musical we added, but for the play, I would say at least the first play in 10 years. So we did do a fall play, so that was great. We had sold almost 300 tickets for that. Coming up soon, which I was going to bring the whole cast to sing to you today, but then I thought I'd get in trouble if I tried that again. And well, I did that my first year, and we took up the whole meeting. So maybe next year I'll plan. Yeah, that I was taking too long. So I didn't bring them because they're actually really busy rehearsing the set. I was actually helping them paint the set today. They're really coming along. So we do have Mamma Mia coming up, so I hope you can all attend. It's April 9th, 10th, and 11th. It's a really special group of seniors because they did start this program with us from when I became director, and now they're seniors, but also bringing back the musical theater. So they've been dedicated, and it's their senior show. We had a really successful event, also Revere Sings. This was a professional practice school of one of our music teachers at the high school, Nicole Furrier, where she organized and reached out to all our middle school music teachers, as well as this year we invited our Revere Youth Singers, which is our youth singing group. They performed. We had over 1,000 people attend, so that was a wonderful event. And then coming up, the Revere Youth Singers will also be performing at our district art show. A celebration which is on April 15th at West Revere. I'll send an invite so you don't have to remember. But our Revere Youth Singers group numbers have grown from 94 students our first year when we started the group to 150 students participating this year. And that's 4th and 5th graders across the district. We had a wonderful production of The Lion King last week where 60 students were participated in part of that production.
It was very cute.
And over at SBA, we also had a theater production this year. We had SpongeBob the Musical, where 70 students, so a really large number. Our numbers keep growing in theater, which is wonderful, participate. And this year, the SBA Drama Club is going to be our first theater club that's going to festival, the middle school festival. So that's coming up on Saturday, May 9th. They'll travel to Linfield Middle School and compete. With the play that they're doing is Esperanza Rising. So they've been working on that. And they will do a small benefit show the day before at 5 o'clock at SBA if you want to come and attend. And that's what they're bringing to festival. So it's really exciting for that to be happening, for us to start to compete in theater. Then also at SBA, we really did a push this year. The rock ensemble has grown. Last year there was 23 students, and now this year we have 55 students. So Garfield, same. The rock ensemble is up to, they have 141 students that are participating in that. Their choir group will have a spring concert, also participate in Revere Sings. They did a new schedule where students are choosing electives, and two special electives they could choose from were ceramics at the middle school level and a digital drawing class where they're learning to draw on iPads and making digital art, which has been really popular. They also had a musical and had 70 students participate. That was Into the Woods. And then RMA, similar things are happening, except somehow their chorus was really large this year. All sixth graders, in terms of scheduling, did take chorus. They all came to perform at Revere Sings. It was a really large group, but it was really impressive to see. And they're putting on High School Musical, which will be next week. So the next slide is their poster for that. And then we have expanded our music option there to add a pop rock type ensemble to help with the alignment in the other middle schools, but also coming to the high school. So they have their longstanding percussion ensemble that's been there forever, and now they have a rock pop type ensemble as well. And so this is their High School Musical next week, Thursday and Friday. If you want to come, just let me know. So overall, like, our theater programs have been doing really well. We have had over 300 students participating in theater arts this year across the district. And with that comes a summer program that we're going to be offering for students. And that's going to be based around performing arts, music, theater, dance, and we're going to open it to grades 4 through 12. We did pilot this last year, and we did mostly just musical theater, but we had 60 students attend, so we're hoping we'll have more this summer. It'll be hosted for Monday through Thursday in July, the 3 weeks in July. More information will be sent out to parents about that in the next couple weeks. And I think that's it for me.
Thank you so much for everything you've been doing. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it because my sons were on the GMS slide.
Oh,
Mikey was
great.
up at the top playing the guitar.
Oh, he was amazing. He had a whole, I didn't know that he was your son, but he had a whole, jump in the middle of the song.
Yeah.
I was, really impressed. I was like, whoa.
Just tapping into Van
Yeah,
Halen. And then Joey was in the bottom because he was in the woods.
Oh, awesome.
So
Great.
Thank you for everything you're doing, because the trickle down is that my kids are involved in this kind of thing. And the fact that they have the confidence to be able to get up on stage and perform at that age, I think back, I couldn't have done it.
Agree.
I was an athlete. I was not into the arts at all, because I think even if it was offered to me, I don't think I could. So you're building this confidence in these kids, and it's incredible. I've seen a change in both of my sons through the rock ensembles and Joey with the drama. It's just been insane. And watching the girls, and you were talking about the seniors doing this last play, the Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
The 8th graders that finished this in the woods with GMS. It was a very emotional thing, because they had, come up through, and then it was their last thing, and it was something to see. They create a community, and they build each other up, and it's just really awesome to see. And it's really great that you've been running the show with all of
Yeah,
this.
it's wonderful. I love my job.
And
every day.
you've got good crew. You've got an awesome crew.
We have a wonderful team of teachers, and everybody's very dedicated and works extremely hard to bring them these experiences. And it is great.
Rachel, incredible. So all of you and putting all your effort in. with her over at GMS, incredible. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Williams, I'd appreciate the invites because I hate to miss one. You know, I try to be there as often as I can. I would like to, while I appreciate all the teachers and all the work that they do, I have to single out Mr. Di Benedetto for two reasons. One, because he's dealing with kids that much younger, elementary kids, and I'm amazed. I went to the show last Friday and I could not remember that many lines if you gave me $1 million. And the other thing, I was at the Dodgeball game and I happened to look up and I look at the Hill team. Now, he just finished doing a production with 50 kids on stage. I think I'd go home and, you know, collapse, but I saw him on the court playing dodgeball and helping the Hill school. So I just was very impressed. I'm always impressed with him, but I was especially impressed that night. And I literally went up to him and said, you know, are you crazy? And he goes, oh, I had to be here. So I appreciate all of the teachers, but when he takes those kids at such a young age, and so many of them,
Yeah,
and gets them
and
to
to
do
speak
things.
to that, to add, it's great, and I love that the Hill has this, and I'm really looking for ways in adding the summer program to expand that to the other elementary schools, as well as, you know, so inviting the elementary kids to come for the summer and to participate, but also we do have a group. I think there's 3 teachers at the Beachmont that have reached out that I've been in communication with this year. They are putting on a small production of Wizard of Oz. I believe they're just nailing down the date now. But it's new and just starting, so, but I'm helping support with that. So hopefully it will, like the theater bug will start spreading and we can have some elementary teachers want to run more productions, and then just thinking about with the lottery no longer, that those students that are in Wayland going to SBA and those students that are in Garfield going to Garfield Middle School, to start to think about how we could expand into the other schools to bring some more offerings, so that it's not just the Hill students that have access to that.
Ms. Milbury Ellis.
Yeah, I would just echo everything that my colleagues have said. You do amazing work, and the variety of offerings that we have is like unbelievable. And your enrollment numbers clearly speak for themselves. I mean, when you do the comparison from just last year to this year, and obviously it's just going to keep growing. It's amazing. It's wonderful. This is all good stuff. I enjoy the shows. I mean, I hear people talking about the shows long afterwards. So I mean, and we look forward to going to them. So just keep it going, and kudos to you, Ms. Williams. Thank you.
Mr. Orlimi.
Yeah, thank you for great work. I mean, I witnessed this last week with The Lion King. Now I don't want to miss Mamma Mia.
You can't miss it. You can't miss it. It's gonna be a good one. Thank
We're
you
just
so
gonna
much.
all continue to give you your flowers because you deserve them.
Thank you.
We know you go far above and beyond, and in times where the arts are the first thing other districts are cutting, we continue to see it grow here, and having that prioritization is great. And I still have legislators talking about having our pop and jazz ensembles at the State House.
Yeah.
We had the speaker almost came out of it. We had legislators coming out of their office to do a little dance break in the middle of their day because they were hearing our students perform at the grand staircase. It was just, it's still a talk of the town, and it really speaks to the work that you're doing with our kids.
And the students love it. I feel like they're happy. They come, like at lunch, they come down and they're practicing singing. That's what they want to do rather than have lunch. So it's great. It's everything great. I always feel I have the luckiest job because I get to come and report on such great things that are happening, and how much growth we're seeing in the students. And thank you for your support.
My daughter doesn't mind coming to the high school on Saturday mornings.
Yes, they've been rehearsing on Saturdays, so that Mamma Mia is gonna be real good. We have 4 snow days. We had to add 4 Saturday rehearsals. So, but they're here. They're here. They're doing it.
Ms.
Thank
Rizzo.
you.
So I had the opportunity to work with you for years at McKinley, and was always so impressed with the work with the students and how much respect they have for her. I know it takes a large community to put these all together, but with your insight and your knowledge, I have to give you great kudos for the work. I mean, it's just wonderful to watch how it went from small to very large, and the time you put in is amazing. So Kelly, thank you for everything.
Thank you. I totally enjoy it. It really is.
You do.
Like, I enjoy it so much.
Mr. Kingston.
I just wanted to note that I know Captain Malone from the police department.
Oh, yes, I want to mention that too on my
Yeah,
slide
he's been
too.
helping
Yeah.
out, bringing the PAL kids to help with making the set and the
Yeah.
stage and stuff like that. And I just wanted to thank him because that's, you know, it's a little out of the realm, but he said, instead of the PAL just maybe doing basketball or something like that, we're gonna do other
Yeah,
things.
which has been great.
And yeah, and I saw him
Huge
with
help.
his, I saw him with his tools one day and I said, where you headed? And he says, oh, we're helping build a set. So I just wanted to thank him publicly for that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. All the police officers that showed up to help build both Enemy of the People set, and then they've been here twice to help with Mamma Mia.
Are the city year kids helping at all with the set? I know they helped.
Oh, the City Lab kids are, yes, there's some around, we have some on crew and we have some in cast, yep, yep, yep.
Mr. Damiano.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for everything you do. It's obviously Revere's a budding theater community. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, and it is.
So I actually have a question about the other topics, though. Is there, in your experience, what's the appetite for like a marching band? Is it growing? Is it?
So one clarifier, the band that you saw listed, the 9th grade band, is like a guitar band, not a marching band.
Right. I asked what the appetite was.
Yeah.
Thank you, though, for the clarification, Dr. Kelly.
That's a great question. It's kind of been one of those things that I don't know when the marching band went away at RHS. I don't know when, like, I have no idea. One of those things I want to do is find out when that happened. We do have the uniforms laying around. It's a huge undertaking and it's a really big expense. We do have a music grant that helps keep our music floating as it is now, but to add a marching band, that's multiple positions. It starts in the elementary, pulling them to have lessons to build that. So it's definitely something that's on my long-term to do and think about and bring back. Some horn instruments, string instruments, even exposure to it, partly with our summer performing arts. That's part of the goal, is kind of to introduce kids to more of those types of instruments, because I would love to see some form of that back at RHS.
Great, Jane. Thank you. Because I ask because I have two neighbors, and one of them plays a stand-up bass. And when I walk my dog, I'm like, "What's that?" It's just so different than what I'm used to hearing. And I said, "What is that instrument?" And then she told me all about it, and her father told me all about it. And that's not something that goes in marching band, but it's just something different that I'm not accustomed to hearing.
So we slowly, like, by adding the jazz ensemble, was like student chose. We do want to hear what the students want, so we do survey them, talk to them. A lot of students last year did want jazz, so we did bring in a part-time jazz teacher after school. So we have the jazz ensemble now, but within that space, depending on who we have, what students and what their interests are, we kind of go with that. But the jazz has opened up a little bit to horns. We did have a student that moved here and come with like skills with the flute. So we try to incorporate more instruments in that way, and kind of see how that's going. But by having 3 ensembles now, we are moving in the right direction, I would say.
Can I add one thing? So I believe you've all met Erin Vanderveer, who is doing an internship with me through the Department of Education's Influence 100 program. If not, I'll bring her in to meet the new folks. But her research project that she's going to do for the Revere Public Schools is conducting a survey and interviews with students to understand what they are participating in for extracurriculars, whether it's athletics or other, why they participate in it, and what they feel is missing. So I can ask her to make sure band is listed on there. But her whole project is focused on really capturing the student voice to see what are we offering and whether or not it aligns with what our kids are saying they want us to offer. So more on that to come.
Great, thank you.
And if I could, I'm sorry, I know we've gone long and you've been very accommodating, but you're
That's fine. I
taking,
took all that
you're taking
time,
plenty of
my first
accolades, so
year's
just keep
director,
taking
so,
them.
yeah.
But, I just need to throw on that the more opportunities we can give creative outlets for these kids, it's wonderful. We had the choir at State of the City.
Well, that was what I didn't even add, that our bands did perform at the Revere Fall Festival. There's lots of things I left out because I was like, I only get 10 minutes. So, but, and at the state of, I'm taking more, I know. But I agree, like these opportunities for them to be out performing in the community is really important. And they did go, to the state.
They performed at the State of the City. They not only performed at the Fall Fest, your team assembled all of the background and vocals and all of the sound for Fall Fest. They put, I asked them to paint a mural in my office. They painted a mural. I asked them to help do veteran spots in front of City Hall. They did it. So, if we have, without overburdening them, they want to do more. And I know one of the students that was at Fall Fest messaged me privately and said, "Can you get me a gig anywhere? I love it. This is the best day ever." And I was like, I don't have a concert hall, but the more we can give them as creative outlets in the city, the better off that they're gonna be.
They do really look forward to that, and I think that's a large goal of the music department, is to get the students, because part of our standards is performing, and we get them those performance opportunities. So Ms. Furrier did take her voice class. They traveled to the elementary schools and sang for the younger kids. They traveled to the nursing homes in the walking distance and sang for them as well. And even like the pop ensemble went down and played with the Garfield ensemble. So there's a lot of that is happening, like in getting out in the community. So like when we went to the State House, if you have anything comes up, like let us know, and just a lot like time in advance so that we can.
Well, good work. Good work.
Thank you. Thank
Great
you.
work.
I have one question.
Rizzo.
I wasn't waiting for you. Thank you. I just wanted to know if Chris or yourself have any plans of making sure those women upstairs, those beautiful wall paintings, are coming down to the new high school?
We haven't talked about it, but I think it's definitely possible.
Oh,
even
it's
if we
absolutely
did
gorgeous.
make them digital and print them and hang them, that's
It'd
they
be a
are great.
shame to lose
They've
them.
been doing a lot of mural projects.
Huh?
The new school architects have some ideas about how we can get that over.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we got to move quickly now, Ms.
Thank you all very, very, very much. You should all go home. It's a school night. The final item on the superintendent's report is just an update to the committee, and we did mention this at the policy subcommittee meeting that Mrs. Milbury Ellis held last week. And it's just to put on your radar that the state graduation requirements are changing this year. And the only new piece is that they're requiring civics to be included as a graduation requirement. We already require civics of all students before they graduate, so we are in fine stead. But I thought that you might be hearing from your colleagues in other districts about this change to the graduation requirement, and just wanted to make sure you are aware that we are aware and that we're already satisfying that requirement.
Next, we have the report of the subcommittees. We have the Ways and Means Subcommittee, Mr. Kingston.
I would like to defer to reading my minutes. I inadvertently didn't send them to my subcommittee members. I'd like them to review what I've written, let them make edits and suggestions, and then I'll report the minutes of the meeting. We did meet on March 3rd. We discussed the budget, but the rest of the minutes, I will defer to the subcommittee to edit or add to my minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kingston.
Wait, can I?
Sure.
Can I just mention a little bit of what we talked about and what's coming? Because I know you have another meeting scheduled for Thursday. So just, I wanted to say this in a forum that's a little bit more public and that more people will see. But as the Ways and Means Subcommittee knows, we presented the first version of our budget, which had a deficit of $9.1 million. It's a lot to overcome. And, I want to thank the school committee, all of you, not just the Ways and Means Subcommittee, but everybody, because I know you've all been advocating very strongly at the state level to try to help us and the other gateway cities, us specifically, in this really odd and challenging fiscal year. It's my hope, and I know it's your hope, that the state can help us in some way to close that enormous gap of, right now we're at $9.1 million. One thing I'm going to be proposing to Mr. Kingston and his subcommittee on Thursday at the next meeting is that we, start to look at where are we able to make some cuts that won't be so tremendously painful that they have a strong negative impact on student learning. That's what we want to protect the most. And so as I've articulated to the whole committee and to the Ways and Means Committee, we started by looking at, due to our decreased enrollment, where are there some places that we can capture certain teaching positions without really harming other kids. And we are looking at, and I know Ms. Monteroso, I heard you loud and clear about the coaches. I know how vitally important they are. But that's a place that we're looking at as something that is really great to have, that we should always have, but in a fiscal crisis is someplace that we have to look to make savings. You know, there'll be other specifics. I'm hoping that on Thursday, I'm gonna be showing you a budget that still has a deficit of $4.5 million, or 4.8 million, I forget exactly what it is right now, 4.8. So the Ways and Means is gonna have a lot of work to do with us, and the whole committee will too. Hopefully the state will help us somewhat, but there is a very, very tall hill for us to climb to get to a balanced budget this year. One thing I do want to say to our colleagues in the district, because I know there's a lot of talk already out there about what position will it be? Will it be my position? And nothing is set in stone yet. There's a lot that's going to happen over the coming 6 to 8 weeks that's going to inform this. Number one, we anticipate the House budget is going to be released the first week in April. That's going to be incredibly telling to us. Our experience has been that, you know, the governor's budget comes out first in January, and usually we see a little bit of a blip between there and the final budget. I'm hoping that our colleagues at the state level, or our representatives, I should say, at the state level, are going to be able to help out the gateway cities that are really experiencing unprecedented student decreases, primarily due to different immigration policies that have changed how things are happening on the day-to-day. So there's a lot still up in the air. People are going to hear me talking about specific positions, but a lot of that will be fluctuating over the next couple of months. If by some miracle we get a $6 million increase in the budget between the governors and the House, that's not going to happen. But if it were to happen, then of course we'd be looking at reinstating any positions that I've been talking about, whether they're coaching positions or, you know, whatever the case may be. We can have those conversations over the next coming months. I just want to be transparent and not have people feel like we're kind of talking behind their backs about their positions. But as soon as anything is firm and set in stone, people will know about it. And as we did last year when we had a budget crunch, we will begin by looking at where are there places where people are electing to leave, whether they're retiring or resigning from their position, or they had a one-year contract. We will look to maximize our ability to keep everybody who wants to be here and is licensed to be here and who we want to be here in a position. That will be our goal, just as it was last year. We did that very successfully last year. I do think that we're in a little bit more of a high-stakes situation this year. I think that's it.
Thank you. So we have the Buildings and Grounds Subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Building and Maintenance Subcommittee met on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026 at 4:43 p.m. All members of the subcommittee were present. The subcommittee discussed 4 agenda items. We had rising costs, operational overview from the Director of Facilities, future projects and capital plan, and a discussion on proactive planning. These items were all informational and discussion-based. No votes were taken. And all 4 items will remain in the subcommittee for further discussion as necessary. I wanted to note that the meeting was not streamed or recorded, but it was properly posted in advance for public notice, and the full minutes will be made available after their approval at the next meeting.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Damiano? Good work. Thank you. And Policies and Procedures Subcommittee. Ms. Milbury Ellis.
The Policies and Procedures Subcommittee met on March 11th, 2026. We had a very productive meeting and discussed approximately 11 or maybe a dozen or so policies. All of these, the minutes of my meeting will be presented at the next subcommittee meeting for approval, and then will come to the full board at the next meeting. Okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions? No?
Mr.
Okay.
Mayor.
Oh, Ms.
I just wanted to add, as a member of the subcommittee, I've actually gotten a few emails from community members about why some subcommittees have not been live streamed like we do in common practice. So I just want to echo that this is something we're taking up in the subcommittee to put in writing. It's been something I thought we had all kind of verbally agreed on, but just we're gonna decide and give a recommendation to the full committee. That's one of the many things we have on the docket, but
Do I have
since
it on here?
you do, yeah.
Okay,
Since
good,
I got outreach from folks, I just wanted to address it for anyone who is watching now that we will be discussing that.
Actually, I might, if I may. Thank you for bringing that up. I should probably just quickly say that for the next meeting, there's a host of topics. If anyone's interested, review of the cell phone policy, review of the Chromebook policy, discussion of school committee member code, possible updates to school committee operating protocols, review of policy involving staff and school committee communications. We're going to continue discussing the alternative school program policy and a review and possible update of the district's equal employment opportunity policy.
The field trip payment thing that we discussed.
Oh, the field trip, yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Any questions, comments? No? Good, okay, thank you very much. We already went through motions in the committee of the whole, and that was voted favorably. Hearings, we don't have any. Unfinished business. Selection of the neighborhood middle schools. I know that we just wanted to get a little more time to read through them in those options 1, 2, and 3. Does anyone have any recommendations on the neighborhood school? I do have one, but I don't want to.
I just wanted to first thank Dr. Kelly. The additional data helped me and actually helped sway my opinion. In February, I voiced that I was leaning towards model number 3, but I actually saw that over time that would give a more uneven distribution of English learners to GMS. So with that, I would like to make a motion to select model 1 for our middle schools.
Yep.
Second.
Great. Okay, any discussion? No? Okay, roll call on the option number 1.
Ms. Biasella.
Yes.
Ms. Bronson Rizzo.
Abstain.
Mr. Caggiano.
Yes.
Mr. Damiano.
Yes.
Mr. Kingston.
Yes.
Ms. Milbury Ellis.
Yes.
Ms. Monteroso.
Yes.
Mr. Ralini.
Yes.
Mayor Keefe.
Yes, the motion is passed.
Can I just speak to that for a second?
Dr. Kelly.
I just know that with that vote, there's going to be a lot of questions from parents about, well, what does that mean? What's Model 1? What does that mean for my child? The work of the school department over the next month and a half will be to really identify exactly what neighborhood, which middle school each student will go to, and we will be sending notices home to each family so that all of our 5th grade parents know which middle school their child will be assigned to for next year. So just before we get inundated with calls, we needed to wait until this vote was taken before we could start that work, but we will get on it post haste.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. And again, I do want to thank, we had some extra effort by Tom in planning and development. Everyone knows Tom in the city. He went to the grocery store the other day. People were nudging him, talking about the stuff that's, right? And between the council meeting, he takes a licking and keeps ticking. And he was tasked with this project with MAPC and really put out some great data points for us to make a good consensus decision. I mean, I firmly believe that this is a really good decision for the district, and it's been long overdue. And I think what the process prior was great, but the time for change has come. And I say this all the time: I don't play the lottery because I always lose, and people lose no one wins the lottery. Okay, so I'm glad to see it go away. Thank you.
Motion to or motion to adjourn. Wait, if there's any new business.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Good night.